So yes, we all have a task. We all know what we have the capabilities and the potentials for doing. Melanin itself is the organizing molecule. Now that should tell you immediately who is the ones who organized civilization. It had to be. Because if melanin was the organizing molecule, then dark matter would have had to express itself as a dark man. Because from the darkness came the light, and only through the darkness does the light become. Why do you think dark absorbs so much light? Because the darkness needed to reabsorb the light after it was conditioned by physical consciousness. That's the way the darkness learns of itself, when it goes into light. But right now you're trapped in only 7. You have the ability to see 7 wavelengths of light only. That makes you blind as a cosmic bat. You are a blind cosmic bat. You can only see through seven layers of color. White light is only 7 bands. But these 7 bands have been manipulated in such a way as to keep you behind prison bars. These are light fixtures that have fixed your consciousness. Because there are wavelengths of what, 293 or 300 and 354 different bands that we are not being given privy to in our spectrum. We have 9 chakras, not 7. So we are in light code lockdown because we can't pick up the information that comes from the stars in the form of vectors of light that opens up certain points of the brain where the melanin is now activated into its potential so that it begins to send signals to the rest of the cells to change the frequency, to change the valence, to change the vibratory components that will make the cells see themselves as something else than what you are. But right now your cells can't see themselves because the programming is up here. Your thoughts have been colonized by education. So you can't see yourself above what you've been taught. So you function under an illusion of who you really are. All of this is illusion. This is an agreement. Everything you look at as your reality is an agreement that this is a reality. What's this here? What's this?
Chair.
A chair. Yeah, right. See? You function very well. What's this? A table. Yeah, see? We all agree. But this is not a table, brothers and sisters. It's what you agree to call it. And just like you have agreed to call this a table, you've agreed to call your reality your reality. Until you break the agreement, you in light code lockdown. And you ain't gonna know nothing beyond what they tell you is real. And that's why you need to go see the Matrix. Because that's something we've been talking about for 25 years. Matter of fact, in my old videos, back in 91, I was talking about something called the Lucifer Matrix. That's another set of books you need to go get, brothers. Books called The Matrix.
Yeah, they have the book.
You got them?
What is it called?
You got them?
Before the movie came out.
Yeah, they have them. But it's called The Matrix. And there are 4 books. And when you put them all together, they stack about that high.
Are they Masonic or something like that?
No, they're not Masonic.
No.
He breaks the Masonics open.
Who's the author?
The author is Val, V-A-L, Valerian, V-A-L-E-R-I-A-N. And he is at a place called, he has a website called Leading Edge. Now, brothers, I'm dropping you into one of the most significant, what do you call it, if you're into all that internet crap? And that's another science y'all need to be dealing with. Go and tap into the place called leadingedge.com. They have the best research material on the way the beast is operating out here. Now, about that internet, that's exactly what it is. See, the Caucasoid can't take his reality beyond the framework he has created. Follow me, brothers and sisters. The reality that we function in is based upon the Caucasoid's own projected illusion about what reality should be. Now, we've agreed to play his game. Check?
Heard. Check.
Check?
Check. Check.
Okay. Now, you agree to play his game. You wear his shoes. You wear his pants. You play his games. So you are in his reality. Now, he does not have the melanin component to take himself out of the threshold he's created. He was to function in this threshold as life lessons for those who remain back here so that they will learn what it is to be not, so that we can make the next move. Check?
Check.
Okay, now, here you are functioning in his reality, brothers and sisters, and you have not yet removed the veil off of your eyes. Now, where you are at this point, who you are at this point, when, come on, when you are at this point is what's most important. Because if you do not strip yourself bare and naked of all that you have clothed yourself with, you stay in. You're going down with the Titanic. Because that's exactly what's getting ready to happen. Now, where was I?
Intimate.
Ah, see, I was wondering if you was paying attention.
Nah.
Okay, you good. All right. Understand that he does not know how to organically shift his reality. You are all the children of peoples who shifted their paradigms without having to invent nothing to do it. You did rituals, you did songs, you created instruments whenever the spirits told you you had to get to another octave. You played the octave and you escaped. You did what you had to do. You do it now through a lower version of that ritual. You call it possession. And you do certain old-fashioned rituals that they do, like they do with the Santeria, and you catch the spirit and you do certain things and you get it. This is something you did when you walked in and out of dimensions. See, when the white man came, he saw you living in a hut. He thought that you were some drag-along, what do you call it? He didn't know how far advanced you were, spiritually. But see, he became so dependent upon all the gadgets that helped him to kind of prop up this collapsing paradigm that he knew nothing else. When the Dark Ages came and he drove out the Moor, he drove out his only consciousness that he had and was able to keep him balanced. So he went hog-ass wild and went crazy with himself. So now he began to invent himself into obsolescence. He atrophied his spiritual organs in deference to have things help him to do what he organically could do. That is why, since he cannot create an organic reality, what does he create instead? A virtual reality. So now you got this virtual reality and everybody's where? Tuned into the net. What the hell do you catch in a net?
Fish.
You damn right. They done caught you. Spiders catch you because they call it a web. They catch all of you all in the net, in the web, and you are being subtly programmed into believing that this new virtual reality is the next stage for your consciousness. But what the hell do you do on the internet?
Surf.
Play, surf, you go in there and find all kind of jackasses. You go into rooms to conversate with people who are faceless, nameless. You used to do that. All you had to do was sit still and talk to people on other planets. But now you need a keyboard because your brain is so numb, your eyes are so blind, your ability to hear is no longer useful to your body, that the only thing you can actually do to activate any of your senses is to do it artificially. Where did you hear that story from? About somebody creating an artificial something. An artificial human. There you go.
Okay.
Now, do you know that Mary Shelley, the one who wrote Frankenstein, do you know that her mother is the one who started feminism?
Also, of the same family, they were big in computer programming.
Hello?
They were the first one. Also, of the same family, they were big in computer programming.
Hello?
They were the first ones to do like a
Hello?
program.
Brother knows. I don't have to say much. You got all the information in front of you. All you got to do is put two and two together. The virtual reality is the way that they catch whatever escapees or potential escapees. They put a web out and a net. Come on. You don't get it yet? Everybody's sleeping it. Your ability to leave this collapsing paradigm has got you distracted from the reality that all of the different components that they set up as your microchips and as your hard drive and all this other crap, you can see them in the skies. Every constellation is a computer chip that is tuned into one of the cell salts of your brain. You have 12 cell salts in your body, and these 12 salts act as magnets to light. When you are putting your attention in 10 or 12 different things that don't have anything to do with your own inner ability to ascend and get your higher consciousness going, those light beams just go past you over your head, or they act as your medicine, as your adjutant. You start dying, getting sick, all kind of. If you don't utilize the light right, what happens? If it's not a medicine or a tonic, it's a poison. So now people are going crazy, they're getting depressed, no drugs can work anymore. The number one, listen y'all, and I'll say this on Sunday, the number one disease, second to heart disease, is depression. The number one and rising with a bullet disease for all women. It's not fibroids anymore, it's depression. What does that say? It says that everything we're doing are contrary to us getting out of this paradigm thinking. We are structuring ourselves to get into possessions again. We want to start doing for self. Me. We don't want to extend ourselves. We want to be educated. Everybody wants to be educated. The only person who wants to be educated essentially today are women. Because 90% of the women who get out are college graduates. Think about it. Last year or 2 years ago, they graduated 197,000 women across the country. 197,000 men went to jail. What are we talking about? We're talking about a change of power specifically because they know that if we were to find out what the deal is with the internet, it'll be over. So what you do is you put it into the hands of a natural supporter. Someone who would want to communalize by nature. By nature, a woman is a communalist. She likes community. She likes people things. She likes to talk. She likes to interact and do all this stuff. By nature, men are loners. Only when we come together to do sports or do something that has to do with activity. We don't come together, listen, boyfriend, tell me more about you. What was it like about you? Oh, what did he say? You don't do all that. That's why we don't sit still for you to talk to us, because we don't want to hear it. You want to talk to a man? Sit down, listen to what he's doing, hear what he's saying about sports, get into the language of what sports is, and guess what? He's talking. But if you're talking about things that don't have nothing, and that's what it is. The internet now is going to be a place where women are going to have, guess what? Check this out. Here's the other science. All the work now is coming back where? Home. Check it now. Listen carefully to the science. Computers are making it so that now you can work out your home, right? By nature, who was the one who always worked in the home? Woman. Hello? Where are you going to be doing? By nature, you want to go out, you want to do things, you want to get yourself together. By nature, a woman essentially, by her nature, is home. So she's taking care of children, she's going to run everything. The home and you. Now, the last time that happened, Rome fell. The last time it happened before that, Greece fell. The last time it happened before that, Carthage and the rest of Sumer, all of them. Every time a great civilization falls is when the women leave the home and go into venture into men's worlds. And now, this is not something that I'm making up, sisters. You can go and check for yourself. I don't care if you're a feminist out there, I'll go with you toe-to-toe, mouth-to-mouth, word with word. You cannot prove otherwise to me. Every time a woman leaves the home, the children, the sanctity, as well as take away the nurturing part of the civilization to come in to do what men do, that's when the civilization goes to hell in a handbasket. And you can see it around you today. This is what happens. And of course, we've again invented ourselves into this condition, so we don't have ourselves to blame. I don't like some of the things that the brothers, Arabs over there doing in Afghanistan, but when they forbade the women from teaching, when they forbade the women from practicing medicine, that was the first step. Because women don't need to practice medicine. They're the ones who deal with alternative medicine, also what they call preventive medicine. If a good woman is in the home and she's smart enough to keep you healthy, that woman is a genius. It don't take a stupid woman. A stupid woman cannot run a home keeping it healthy. You may see chaos running around, but when a woman is smart, intelligent, and she's doing her job as a wife, mother, and the builder of a society, you would never know anything was going on. Them children would never be sick, the husband would never be sick, she'd be never sick. So she don't need to be no damn doctor. And another thing, she don't need to be a surgeon either, because when you bleed, sometimes you don't have all of your mental faculties together. And I don't want no woman cutting me who's bleeding. You think about it. There are at least 10 different types of things that happen to a woman when she's having a cycle. I don't want nobody cutting on me during no moon time. You understand? These particular things that you're taking over, it's great that you could do what a man do. I could do what a man do and better. You got a woman that's on what do you call it? She's now lifted nearly 300 pounds, and she looks like a square toad. And she's now coming up there, and she's walking around, oh, look, she's a 50. Oh, man, isn't she great? What are you talking about? Aren't you looking at the civilization going to hell? When you start seeing women looking like men doing what men do? I mean, after I've seen Michael Jordan, well, I want to look at what's the name of these people play for New York? Lisa Lip. What the hell I want to go looking at her play basketball for? You want to impress me? Go play Shaq. No, I mean, I sound like I'm what do you call it, vituperous, because it's nonsense. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. You're not looking at this. And you brothers are letting them get away with that. Oh, man, you see how she go for a job? Oh, man, yeah, she's sweet. Come on, brothers. It's like you didn't wear the skirt. You want to wear a skirt? So the worms say, oh, don't he look real good in my skirt? Listen to this, brothers. Let me ask the sisters out there. If your man decided that he was going to change himself like you want to go ahead and run, get aerobic, come out there, get jock, get cock diesel. Suppose a man says, baby, I love you too much, and I want to change for you. I want to grow a little titty. This would be all for you. You know, I just want to get a little curve in me now. I just want to get my waist a little bigger, and I want to get my hips a little wider, just for you, baby. Let me ask you a question, sister. Would you want me to do that? Think about it, right? Would you want to get, would you want to get that way? Would you want your shoulders to get a little smaller? Would you want to learn how to walk a little bit different for her? Now, sister, if you don't want your man looking like you, how in the hell you think we want you looking like us? You think about that. Question?
Metaphysics.
Oh, we back?
No, I wanted to ask you.
Hey, brother, go ahead, brother. Because you.
Like in the ancestors days, women used to have virgin births. What if that system?
That was an anomaly. Yeah. The virgin birth was an anomaly. It wasn't something that was natural. As a matter of fact, it was something that was looked down upon, frowned upon, because any woman that could have her own, conceive her own child, was her own man.
Was she lesbian?
No, she wasn't lesbian. Her inner makeup, like I was saying to you, that there were certain faults.
Hermaphrodite?
Yeah, hermaphrodite. Very good. Remember I told you that during the time when the fall was happening, that there would be anomalies in the body that showed how degenerated we became? Well, sister, if you were to check behind your uterus and behind actually the fallopian tubes, you would see what would be akin to vas deferens. The vas deferens essentially are what males have. You would see what would be akin to vas deferens. The vas deferens essentially are what males have. And right next to the vas deferens, along the line of the fallopian tubes, just behind it, I believe it's in the mesosphinx, that's what it's called. There is a lump right there that nobody knows what it is. And it's called the ovarium, and something else called the oophoron. And check the science, y'all, because you ain't going to never hear this no place else. When science began to take that apart, inside of the ovarium, they found sperm cells. Now, you're going to tell me that you have a clitoris. It's natural, it's ours. No, it's not. It is a result of the fall. And I'm going to drop this Sunday on the sisters, because everybody want to protect the clitoris. Some sisters say, well, show me where to get it taken off. Fine, if that's what you want to do. But I ain't telling you to go take it off. I'm telling you what it is. And well, if you for female genital mutilation, I said, listen, 3/4 of African women in Africa have it taken off. So who are you now coming over here telling the African women, oh, you shouldn't do that, it's mutilation? The sister told you, get the hell out of Africa.
Erectile tissue.
Yeah. See, erectile tissue is only for males. So is ejaculation. Now, they got women now. These dykes are saying it's all right for you to ejaculate as a woman. Oh, go for the G-spot. There's this G-spot. Check it. The G-spot, right at the vaginal area, right over the under the pelvic bone. I know you guys went searching for one time. Right underneath this area is right here. It's right behind the clitoris. Right. So they say, okay, go for that. And they say, and I have it. Well, I'm gonna drop it Sunday. In the biggest, they're telling you in this Black Women. That's the name of the magazine. They're telling you all the things that men want and what they want you to do. So they're telling you now that there's this area behind it called the G-spot, and that area now, when stimulated, can actually get you to ejaculate just like a man. Yeah. Whoa. Whoa. See? See what I'm saying? Some brother, check it out. Brother who said that he went with a woman who worked out, he said that her clitoris was as big as his thumb.
It's true. Yeah, I read in the bodybuilder magazine.
As big as his thumb. He said, damn, I got some pretty big thumbs.
My anatomy and physiology teacher told me that.
But I'm saying to you, beloved, when you take a woman outside of the periphery of behavior that keeps the construct intact, you change her body, you mutate it. She becomes a man, a she-male. And she does not have any more of those very delicate instincts that your great-grandmother has, the sympathy, the empathic energies that can sense babies. Why do you think women have this thing where the feminists like to say, well, it seems that there's a portion of the woman's brain that can look at facial cues and tell me whether I'm pissed off or not. Women can read cues, and they say, oh, he don't look like he's... Men don't go reading cues. Why do you think a woman needs to be able to read faces and feelings? What?
They gave the seeds.
Ah, the babies. Babies don't talk. So they got to be able to understand non-communicative language. I don't want it. That's your job. I don't want to feel you, sister. I don't want to feel your pain. I don't want to... I don't want to get my feminine side. You are my feminine side. I know anything I want to know about the feminine side from you. I don't want to become feminine to feel what you feel. It's bull. I don't need to feel what you feel. If I feel what you feel, what you've done is you shaved my instincts. You've dulled them, so I can't protect you. You see. So don't try to make me over. Some women get men to, oh, well, I don't like what he does there, but just give me time. I'll fix him. See, women domesticate you. By nature, you're a free mover. And you forgot all that. You don't even want to play with it. If a woman is good enough to get you, in the book they called, in the book called the one I told you all about, The Rules. In it, it says, my man used to go out and get with his boys, play ball. They used to go out and shoot pool and hang. She got him so whipped that he don't want to go out with his boys anymore. Now wait a minute. So now the whole idea is to make this man so domesticated that his attention is totally on you. What kind of man has that become then? You got a house pet. Because my dog heels when I want him to. Because I trained him where my heel was. You see what I'm saying? And the sisters really loved you for your independence at the beginning. It was something about you that was just so, you know, so cool about it. Oh my God, dude. And then she'd go on the phone and talk all about you. Don't think they don't talk about you. See, when women talk, it ain't about just talking. We talk, man, we want to talk sports. Yeah, let's get some science going. Women strategize. Anytime a woman has a coming together, it is for business. The business of men. Don't believe that women just talk to talk. Women get together to speak and strategize about you. You are in a constant conversation. Now, when they're not in your conversation, you're not in their conversation, they are dealing with jobs, business, babies, whatever it is, but it still hinges around you. This is why they're so suffering with frustration now. They got all the money and no you. This is why Essence dedicated the thing, "Come back home, black man." And that's why the next magazine said, "To what?" The brother answered back, "To what? What are we coming back home to? You said you could do it yourself." No one could do it yourself. There is no person that is an island. You can do what I can do, and you say you can do what I can do better. You can do anything that a man can do. Yeah, that don't mean that you should. The only reason you ever had to do anything a man could do was when the men became decimated in war. And you had to pick up the gun. Otherwise, you stayed away from men. You went in your compound with women, we went in our compound with men. That's why in certain cultures, the boy is taken from the mother at 7 years of age, and she don't see him again until after 15, 16 years of age. He talks to her through an intermediary, because he would not know anything but his mother, based on who she is. You can't mess around with a dark person's mother. You understand? But that was not the way it used to be. The mother was not in your life after 7 years of age. You were a man-child. And can't no woman raise a man-child. Only a man can raise a man-child. And that's why they did what they did to this society, to have women raising your man-child. Now, here's women talking about all of the sorry states that men have treated them. Oh, God, you haven't treated us right. Listen, if the only person we see in the house is a woman, what has happened? Think what's happening. No, listen. If the woman is the one that's raising you, 90% they're saying is that the single-parent child families being raised by women. Now, if I know my mama is raising me, what is it now that we're supposed to be dealing with all this brutalization and men don't care about women? Because I would think that the women would treat you, the first person you know about as far as a woman is concerned is your mama. What happens?
Homosexual?
Yeah, when you're being brutalized. No, I'm just asking, just to stay on that point. How is it that we are brutalizing the people who have really raised us? There's something going on there. There's no balance. Because we're taking the role of husbands. And most women who don't have men take it out on the boys that are there, like they're the husbands. You see? I'm telling you. This is a sick psychosis that was planned. It's being orchestrated. Our women are being isolated, and they don't want to come back because they believe. And you see, when the man begins to play on their feminine instincts for security, for companionship, for protection, that's what the welfare state is. So you watch your sisters, because they're being operated by the puppeteer. Know that they are playing games. And the ones who play the hardest to get are the ones who really like you. Okay, those are the ones that learn so-called rules of don't go right away, don't play right away, don't be there for him, let him want you. Yeah, let's chase. We like to chase. We men, we want to chase. Don't come up and start to yang and yoke and play up in the face. We want to be with you, we be with you. But you can't tell us to be with you or try to play us to be with you, because you get played. And you be by yourself. So there has to be an organization of women. We don't have the secret societies of women catering and telling women how to be women, and God knows we don't have any society to tell our men. All right? So you sisters, you better start working to start uplifting your men. You sisters, you better start working to start uplifting your men, because you don't want to have shit out here for yourself, because white man don't want to take care of you. You his welfare child. You his pieces. You're his ticket for his money. Know that. The white man don't want to take care of you. He's using you to stop us. It sounds, oh, who's this man? No, he's got the biggest ego. No, I ain't got the biggest ego, because we know how the science works. We know how they are using you all to become the feminists, the Oprah wannabes, and all of this crap, to play it off against the real deal, and that is the war that the white male is waging against men of color around the planet. And you're one of his minions. You have been drafted in his army. I'll just put a little something down.
It's metaphysical. I don't know if you want to say over here, but I want to ask you if you could teach us certain things that we could like call back spirits within ourselves and all that, and open up certain doorways as far as that goes.
I don't know if you're ready for that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know if you want to share something like that.
First thing to do is to analyze your thinking, brother. See, you have to understand what it is that is in your catalog. What's in your thought inventory? Do you know?
What's inventory?
Well, for instance, inventory is like what you have stored in the back. Say you got a store. Your inventory is what you have that you have in the back, in the storage department. What's in your thought inventory? What have you stored in the back of that part of your mind that puts memory and experience, and then begins to process it as your reality?
Whatever answers to certain questions that I ask myself, that's knowledge.
Well, you're the sum of everything. The thought process has been colonized. When you can go into your thought process and begin to see it, not only as the observer, but as the observed itself. For instance, let's just deal with thought and space. We know that there is space all outside of us, but we never take the time to deal with the space within us. There is a point of reference within all of us that is based upon our awareness. That point, that one little point that you have there, is what creates the space. Can you move the point from the place that you are now processing your reality to another point, to another place, so that you don't get stuck in that one little circle that you created? Because the point is your point of reference. The point is the observer. The point is the one who is the doer. The pointer is the experiencer. That point, now, if you know the radius of a circle, that's the point, and then you go around it. Well, you have now got a point of reference to your reality. And inside that circle is what you have filled with an inventory of experiences, and that's all you have. You don't even know what's outside that circle because you're too busy thinking. So unless you can understand how thought operates within the confines of that dot, and how it now has blown up inside of this cocoon that is the circle, you are trapped there. You know nothing outside of that circle because of the inventory of your thoughts. So you can't know what to do spiritually to protect yourself, because anything you do will be just rearranging all of what you put inside that circle. Can you stop thinking?
Crazy.
No, you just stopped thinking just a second ago.
When was that? When I started listening?
Yes. That's what I like about you. When you listen, what are you doing?
You're searching for something.
Not only searching. Let's get off the point. Listen to me and carry me and follow me. When you listen, what are you doing?
Observe.
You're processing, but see, processing still has processing means you are going inside. Wait, listen, let me just get that. Processing means you're going inside the circle to see what you can remember of what you're hearing. That's what processing is. To see if you can get what you think you don't know and put it together with what you think you know. That's what processing is. No. When you are listening, what are you doing?
You're making room.
You're
No?
You're hushing your consciousness.
Ah! Okay. When you are listening, so when everything goes hushed, what are you doing? No. Again, gathering again is based upon what it is you have in or what you think is out. No? Come on. We're going to get this.
Where's the question? When you...
Okay.
You are absorbing?
When you are listening, what are you doing? Hmm?
Taking all the blocks away?
No. Again, to take something away means that you believe there's something there. Let's not get there. I'm going to show you how your brain is working. When you are listening, what's the first thing you are doing?
Listening.
You are silent. And when you are silent, what are you doing?
Not speaking.
No?
Taking in the
Okay. Ah! Who's this boy? But follow me. If you are listening, you are still. You are quiet. You are humble, because what are you saying to yourself?
I don't know.
I don't know. There is nothing inside of the circle to reference. You get it? Check.
check.
Jack.
Check.
Did I lose you guys? I thought y'all were long distance runners here. When you are listening, you are still. And you are saying that I don't know. That means I have your attention. You are paying attention, which means you're not thinking. Thinking can only be done on accumulated facts from the past. So anytime you go to thought to try to solve your problems, you're going to the past. You're trapped in time. Now I done showed you how to escape time.
Wait.
Whoa.
It's quiet. It's quiet. What are you listening to?
Ah, when the mind is quiet, what happens?
Oh, that's when your thinking comes back.
No, it does not. Because when your mind is quiet, you're not thinking. When you are paying attention, what are you doing? What is the act? What is the process called?
Absorbing.
No? Concentration? That's very close. But what are you doing? Huh?
Focusing.
Not focusing. Hmm? No. What do you do? What are you doing now?
No.
Ah, no. We don't want the Noah in this. The Noah is the point.
It's not meditating.
No. What are you doing? What are you doing now?
Learning.
Ah! I know people say I'm insane. I'm an insane teacher. You are learning. When your mind is in a constant state of learning, there is no thinking. It's only after you want to accumulate facts that you start thinking. Because the point or the referencer thinks it needs to have these facts for the future. So it begins to process it according to its experience. Well, where would I put this? I'm not that. Oh, I'm that. Well, so you now try to shuffle the inventory around, hoping to create a whole new store. It's the same store. You just move the boxes around. But when you are learning, you are still. Thought stops. There's no thinking going on right now. You're paying attention to me. Can you go inside your mind right now and think about what you're thinking? No. Thought stops. Now, can you stop it without me?
That's what I'm saying. But it's
No.
quiet.
I didn't ask you to tell me what you said. I've given you, can you stop it without me now talking to you?
Only if I'm listening to something else.
Wait. Yes. Remember, you're coming now. We've moved the point of space. Remember I told you there are two different types of space. Aha. Now the point of reference was where? Outer. Because you were agreeing with your references outside the point. Now we move the point and the reference within. And we find out whether there's space in here. Is there space in here? Huh? Okay. Is there space? Where is that space? No. Let's just stay on the point. Where is the space?
Nerves?
No, not in the body. Let's not look in the body.
Okay.
No. We were
On another plane?
okay.
Focus or outside the circle?
Inside now. We're outside of the reference. We're not even dealing with the point anymore, so we can deal with outer space. We're dealing with a point that's now taking us into another realm for inner space. Now, we are looking for space. Is there space inside of here? Is there space inside of here?
In mind?
All right. is there space within the products of the mind? Let's just see, make it better.
The space was the learning when you was quiet.
Okay, now, so there must be space between what?
Each thought.
No, between what? What did you still?
The mind.
What did you still? Is there space between thoughts and thinking?
Yes, it has to be.
Oh no, I know some people got a run-on sentence going in their brain. Are there space between thoughts?
They can be.
But is there a space between thoughts? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, there is space between thoughts. Now, who recognizes that?
Those who take time to.
Who recognizes the space?
Me.
Who's the me? Who's me? I don't know who that is. Is it the observer and the experiencer that's experiencing the space? Or is it the thinker that is thinking a space into existence?
The observer.
Okay, now, is the thinker the observer? See, watch me where I'm going now.
As a person or as...
Oh, you're going outside the boundaries now. I've got you inside the inner world and showing you how the mind works. It sounds crazy, but you have to realize that there is an outer space from that point of reference. That point of reference you build a world around. That world that you have, that container, is where you put all your thoughts to play games with yourself with. So you trying to find yourself with this or that thought. That thought doesn't fit today and so forth. If I can't deal with the thoughts I've already accumulated, let me go find some other thoughts to accumulate until I find out where I'm comfortable at today. And then by the time you finish, your brain is just swollen with everybody else's thoughts but what's supposed to have come up from you. Now, I moved the point of reference from experiencing outside to the point of reference inside, and I've shown you that there's space inside because you can actually detect space. Not ask for it, not identify it, just detect it. And I even gave you the clue that you can find space in between your thoughts.
I'm listening.
Well, you can listen.
Between listening and thinking.
Okay, listening and thinking. Between listening and thinking. That's a space. Very much so. Because immediately, listening means no thinking. Because you're learning. So it's better to say that between learning and thinking. Okay? Because in learning, you're in the active present. In thinking, you're only dealing with the future and the past. Because from what you have accumulated, since it's the past, you can only project what you think to be your future. You see? So, in the active presence of the now, can you find a space that you can occupy within yourself without conditioning it with what you have done in your outer space? That's the secret. I won't torture you anymore. The idea is that in your inner space, in between your thinking processes, there are deficits of preoccupied thought, where if the analyzer, if the recognizer, if the experiencer can observe without the observer becoming the judge, the jury, and the executioner of what is being observed, then you understand the stillness and the space within. So, the space within is based upon how you recognize it as space, where there is a quiet space or time or moment where thought does not interrupt the observation of the space. Because you could observe the space and you say, oh shit, there's a space, and you've already polluted it with your thoughts.
That's hard.
Recognize that
Is
you're
sleeping
observing.
involved in this?
Sleeping is involved in it too.
Well, how do you recognize that you're observing anything?
See now, come on. Elaborate on the questions so we can get a...
If you're thinking, right?
Uh-huh.
That means, if you're observing,
Right.
And you're observing, you have to be thinking that, okay, now I'm observing, because how do you do something without thinking about it first? You know what I'm trying to say?
Can you recognize? The answer to that is, can you recognize that you are the observer?
Without thinking?
Without thinking.
Ah.
I don't know.
See, there you go. That's perfect. The fact that you say you do not know is a step. Because immediately you've surrendered what you think you know. Or what you believe you know. And that's the beginning of all understanding. Matter of fact, that is the beginning of intelligence. There is a difference between thought and intelligence. Thought is of the past. Thought is mechanical. Thought thinks you. You don't think thought. Think about it.
Isn't observing the stillness an observation itself?
Ooh, I like that one. Let's go into that one. Isn't observing the stillness an observation itself? If the observer, observing the stillness, sees it as stillness.
I was listening, I was thinking.
Yeah. Okay, see? That's right in the way, didn't it? Got right in the way. If the observer, observing the stillness, observes the observer, if the observer knows that it's stillness and recognizes it as stillness, the observer has polluted the experience.
So how do you know?
Well, here, just for instance, I look up in the air and I see something and it's doing this. What's the immediate thing you think? Yeah, so you've just polluted that experience. Why? Because that's not a bird. It's the agreement that you've made. It's the catalog you have created within this confines. So you do not have the pure experience of what that thing is, that dynamic, animated presence, that expression of intelligence. So you've actually labeled your reality so you could be safe in your reality. Because thought does not like to feel unsafe with its reality. So in labeling it, it feels very safe, you see. So thought is dangerous because thought wants to confine you. Thought wants to protect itself. Thought will argue with anything that may destroy its certainty. And that's why you develop certain personalities that deal with certain types of thinking processes that make you feel that this is right and this is wrong. That's why we trapped in this paradigm. Check.
Check. Double check on that. Saying that affinity, reality, and comprehension all connect with each other. So
what was the first word?
Affinity.
Affinity?
Yeah. And reality and comprehension don't connect with each other.
Okay, let's take the three words. Affinity, which means some form of connectedness.
Coexistence.
Interfere. The next word?
Reality.
Reality. That's up in the air. Reality is a dictate of a construct of certain molecular changes and how the eye sees it. That's baseless. The next one?
Comprehension.
Comprehension. Now, that's a big word. That's a huge word. Comprehend. Now, when you comprehend something, it says that you understood it or overstood it. Okay? To comprehend something means that you have dealt with all variables and you've come up with an assessment. But, what have you used to compare?
Past.
So, is comprehension something that is immediate, or is comprehension based upon your satisfaction that the catalog is not being disturbed?
So it's limitation then. It's all limitation.
Well, meditation is limitation. The fact that it's meditation, M-E, tells you exactly what it is. Meditation today is done so clinically and so stupidly with that is stupidity. And get yourself in that's stupidity. You cannot meditate by trying to trick the catalog. Doesn't work. By adding an ohm or something to it. What you've done is, all you've done is added some more information into the catalog. And you dulled your senses by ohming yourself to death. You get bored very easily. Meditation is exactly what you were doing when you were recognizing that you were the observer. And what you do is when you go into your stillness and you say you want to meditate, you say, oh man, all these thoughts come up in my head. That's the first step to meditation. The first thing you do is to still your mind by just simply observing. The first thing you do is to still your mind by just simply observing. And the trick is to observe without putting out a judgment of what you've observed. Because remember, everything that you have in here is based upon opposites. I don't like that, I like this. I may like this, I like this. So, when you are making a judgment, when you go into your mind to start to meditate, you start judging the artifacts that are in the inventory. Oh God, I can remember, I was so embarrassed. Oh my God, oh God, I don't want to think about that. Oh. Okay, let me think about it. Oh yeah. So you start going over the category and you start hearing what I know, what I call cricket thoughts. You know, you be out there in the woods, you hear crickets, you don't know where the hell they are, but you can hear them all over the place. That's how their thoughts get at you. And you got this whole catalog and this crickets are going, and you're bombarded by your thoughts, exactly. So here you are inside of your mind, you got all these little cricket thoughts, and you're thinking, oh man, did I leave the stove open? Oh, did I lock the door? Oh. All of these things are happening because you're trying to trick yourself. But in meditation, you should still yourself by looking at all the things that are happening in your mind without judging them. And you can get to that state now, instead of you saying, I'm going to say Om to come from my state of confusion to get to my state of balance and nirvana, if you believe that your state of confusion is different from your state of nirvana, and that the state of nirvana is over there when your state of confusion is over here, you will stay confused. Why? What's the reason? If my state of confusion is here and nirvana is there where he's sitting, what's happening?
Separating the
Right, and with that separation, what have I created? Well,
limitation on yourself.
Limitation? No. What is there created?
Space.
Space! And when you've created that space between what you say you are and what you want to be, what have you created?
Time.
Yes. When you create space between what you think you are and what you think you want to be, you create time. And you immediately fall into the trap of time. If you do not know that you are already that space of nirvana, you'll never reach it. Now, did they get you
Wait,
this?
so wait, how come in the Matrix he didn't know that he was that person?
Didn't anyone go see Matrix now?
Yeah, well, I've seen it.
Y'all seen it? Oh, so why everybody face? Oh, he didn't see it. He didn't see it.
Oh,
Everybody told you except
yeah, but the lady told him that he wasn't. So then wouldn't that...
You gotta remember that they get played, they're not gonna tell you everything. The whole science is not gonna be dropped. But on Sunday I may drop a little gem here and there. I'm gonna give it all. You know. Let the brother go at least sit down and enjoy the flick.
So like, what should we like? We shouldn't like look at a candle, meditate, and nothing like that.
You wanna do that? Fine. Find out what you find out when you look at a candle.
What's the correct way, the proper way?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Now we want to get into variables of what opinion is. There's no correct way to do anything. You can lie down, you can sit down, you can meditate having sex. Trust me. I am a tantric teacher. I teach how to have the best sex. And I'm not talking about these how-to books bullshit. I'm talking about how to enter a woman and how to be entered and to have the bliss experience in that particular coming together. We've forgotten that it's a pairing of cosmic forces. It's not just a dick and a pussy. And that's what we've treated them as. Your lingam and the yoni, as they're called in the ancient Vedic, are the two polarities that bring together the spark of life. Okay? One is the yang, the other is the yin. When you deal with those dynamics in that level, you see your queen as a cosmic entity, as something that is broader than the body that she occupies, and that she is an energy dynamic because of her shape, because of her form, because of her design. It is unique to the cosmos. When you look at her as an instrument that is not only enjoyed, but just like any virtuoso, it is played so that it yields sweetest music. And there's nothing sweeter than the moans of a woman in ecstasy. Okay. You know what I'm talking about. That energy itself is you playing that song, playing the music of the stairs through her sound.
High vibration.
Nothing like it. It is the highest vibration. But that's not sex, you see. That's something else. Sex comes from the word six.
Stuff.
Sixtos.
What exactly happens to the body and the mind during the exact process of stimulation?
Well, essentially, you activate the polarity within her. There's a dynamic that you see, says the Tao. You see the black and the white, then you see the small white on the black and the small black on the white. What you're doing is you're amplifying those energies, and those energies that you touch inside of her, that is immediate to her, you shrink that by your presence in her. You take away that polarity. So you being the white, which is the active energy, the black inside, and she being the black, which is the darkness, going right back into the womb. That white inside of it, when you enter her, that shrinks. She no longer needs that polarity. You become one with her. You become the Tao. That's a whole nother class. Boys and girls. Yeah, see that some of y'all are keeping up. I mean, you know, I look behind and y'all still there. Yes, brother.
Now, question we had earlier was going through. You spoke upon other people on other planets and such. We wanted to go through the lineage of the Caucasian.
Well, that's a long one. There were supposedly something like 7 races. There are 7 root races, and he is of the fourth one. And he came in at the end of the cycle. He is at the end of the cycle. So wherever you see him manifest, it's the end. So we're supposedly going through the 5th or the 6th root race.
We're the Aryan race.
Well, Aryan essentially was the Dravidians, the Sanskrit Dravidians. Hitler took that name because he was a student of the Vedic histories. But the Aryan turned around and has a guttural Nagrin. If you switch the word Aryan around, it's almost like Nigra or Nigra.
Is the Vedic you talk about, is that the same as Vedas? Vedas? V-A-D-A-S?
No, V-E-D-A, Veda.
They pluralize it sometimes.
Yeah, just like you're dealing with the Darth Veda. Because that's a whole another thing in, anybody hip to Kabbalah? Yeah, well, part of the Kabbalic Sephiroth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the energy behind, which is the one that comes right off the top, it's really behind, not actually in front, it's actually behind the rest of the Sephiroth. That's Darth. So that's where you're getting the Star Wars trip from. That's a whole other science. You know, George Lucas is playing that Illuminati scenario around. He's playing the games out. The way we wrote it out on hieroglyphics, he's playing it out on screen. Yeah, we was going to say about planetary on other planets or something.
No, I just wanted to know if the Caucasians, do their ways and actions apply on other planets as well?
Yeah, well, they said that most of the life forms that were on here were seeded from other dimensional zones. The Caucasian is the only one supposedly having been grafted or made out of, as a slave class, actually. So you can imagine just what that whole story was about. And it was like the story of Frankenstein is supposed to be a story about him. And the experiment got out the lab. And all of the experimented mutates were put up into Europe to live. And it's from there that Abraham supposedly went up there and gave them certain tools.
Moses?
Yeah, Abraham went there and gave them certain tools. And that's where all our hell began. But it was necessary for them to change the frequency, because that's what they did. They just brought in the end times for us. Which is good. I'm waiting for it to collapse anyway. I don't know what y'all so scared about. Yes, sir.
I'm going to touch upon, we were talking about it today at school, like when you're doing something naturally like breathing rather, why is it that when you think about breathing, you suddenly, you just go off beat and then all of a sudden you start this deep breathing and like once you become conscious of your breathing it changes. How does that work?
Well, when you breathe, you say the word, the life stream. The life stream has a name. It's Soham. Now, if you were to close your ears, and I'll do this and I'm going to go to the bathroom, at least part of it, the secret of the fall. Fall is the fall of God, because God orchestrated this whole damn thing. So to say that we had we are to blame for the original sin. It's just pushing a guilt trip on you so you can come back to the church and hope to get salvation through these jackasses that tells you, Jesus is the way. Anybody know what a Jesus is? I don't even know who or what Jesus means. Jesus was forced upon us as slaves. Jesus came at the end of a sword. Jesus didn't come into you and your hearts and it's a lot of crap. Okay? So understand that the religious concepts that they got, the Garden of Eden and the whole 9 yards, all of that are principles based on how God, after 7 days of involution, on the seventh day it was rest, because that's the point where everything coagulated, and from that point, evolution. So you have involution, evolution, solution, S-O-L.
All right.
So you have involution, solution. So from the involution, a solution is formed. From the solution, evolution. I'm giving you signs. Involution, solution, S-O-L, Adam, Sol, the sun. Then Eve, evolution. Then dissolution. Then degeneration. Then redemption, regeneration. It happens all over creation, all the time. Each time you breathe, you do the same thing in your body.
You said the part where the seventh day was at rest. You said, would that be considered like let's say the last? I mean, what is the first day of winter, the longest day of winter, where it says that the earth before she shifts, but it's 3 days, right?
Right. 3 days.
Before she goes back to go.
Right. 3 days. The sun sits in this pocket in the southern skies, and then all of a sudden it seems to rise again. Well, that's what is known as the perihelion or the ellipsis, furthest ellipsis. It actually begins its furthest ellipsis on December 24th. That's when the sun begins its stage to go back towards the sun. I mean the earth goes up in its first, and then it's just like after it does like a spin one place like this, and then it shoots back.
That's not the seventh day of rest.
No, that's not it. That's the 3 days that Christ stayed in the tomb.
Right,
exactly.
But sometimes they say also like Osiris was separated 14 parts.
No, was it 15?
Yeah, 14. Because it has to do with the
14. You're right.
14, what's his name? 14 days that Hammurabi was in the grave.
Hammurabi was in the grave.
And then the 14 days of the moon.
The 14-day lunar cycle.
Yeah. So
with the blue moon and the earth itself. Again, all of these are just your proximal to consciousness. The earth, in its proximity to the moon, creates a spin dynamic that creates a tone, that creates a harmonic. That harmonic affects your consciousness by your just living in this time zone.
The moon, right?
The moon and the sun. Remember, the sun is a child. That is, a son is the youngest creation in the physical realm. That's why the sun is the redeemer. The sun gives up its life, sacrifices itself. You see? The whole scenario is there. It's just that you've been played off to believe that some man with a cross is going in.
What is it? Why they say that the moon is what makes people go crazy, have bad dreams?
If you're a lunatic, you mean? Yeah. The lunar cycle is just based on the valence and the spin dynamic. Sometimes if your water ain't correct because you're so damn polluted, yeah, you're gonna be crazy.
A lot of Europeans during way back, when they were early kings in Europe, they would go crazy.
Oh yeah, they'd have their pus and their break out in their sores, and they go through all that. That's why every time a comet would come by, there'd be a plague in Europe. Yeah, excuse me.
Book of Revelations, is that a prophecy or does that apply to the human body?
Nope, yes, it does. The Book of Revelations is nothing more than a neophyte's initiation into chakra opening. The Lamb is the initiate, and the Book of Seven Seals is the human body opening up the 7 chakras. That's all. 7 churches, the 7 days, 7 everything. Everything in sevens have a cycle. It's just simply a cycle. And we're in that harmonic of 7 and 9 right now for completion, because we're in the lowest rung of materialism right now. We're in what is known as ultramatter. And we're about to break the seal. All right? The seal to the heart. So essentially, you'll be able to see the seven seals working through certain people. I made a prediction that a child will come, such a genius child will come, that that child will become a leader. But if the anti-forces want to take that child, they're going to end up taking that child.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, brother.
I heard you on the tape on Metaphysics of the Bible. You was talking, you were speaking of Demetria and how this guy in Africa is not the one or whatever. I just wanted to know if you could go through that history and.
Are you talking about Maitreya?
Yeah, Maitreya.
What about him?
I wanted to know if you could go through the history.
Well, he was actually made up. He's I think he's a creation of the British aristocracy over in Africa. He's being nurtured and given funding, and he's a sorcerer. He does a lot of tricks.
This man exists?
Yeah. Yeah, he was the one that's supposed to have been taking the next step to coming over here to begin recruiting people into this new millennium group. Well, you heard that before. You know. But Maitreya ain't it. Dr. York ain't it. I ain't it. You're it. Don't believe the hype. Anybody coming along dressed up as Osiris and all the rest of that bullshit. Excuse the expression. We all grown up here. Anybody who's trying to get you to follow them. Anybody who is not teaching you so that you can be free of them. Anybody that is not teaching you so that you will become greater than they is full of shit. And they're pimping you. You don't need to bow down, genuflect, lift up your arms and what do you call it, and do all that crap, touch your arms to the floor and all that garbage. That's just somebody just love that stuff, you know. They just go back home and just beat their meat on it. And I'm just sick and tired of my brothers and sisters falling into this mentality when we can gather together just like equals here. I may have a little bit more down the road than you all, but it don't mean that you all won't be greater than I, but just what it is we have here. And that's the idea, because I may choose you to come back through your seed. And I came here and made you dumb and stupid, genuflecting and acting stupid. I won't want you raising me. You see what I'm saying? So if I don't make you greater than me, I haven't done what I'm supposed to have been doing here. And that's leaving it greater for the next time. A lot of these people are pimping that. They like living well on your ignorance, living well on your desperation, living well on the fact that you don't have self-esteem, that you need someone to look up to in order to find yourself. It's bullshit. Don't go for it, my brothers and sisters. No one is greater or lesser than you are at that moment. And no one is greater or lesser than the perception you've given to them and to yourself. Yes, brother.
I wanted to get into what is mental telepathy and how does one acquire this ability?
You have it. You do it sometimes when you're with your lady. You don't even know it. It's affinity. Mental telepathy is thinking. It's projecting feelings. You have the ability to hear someone speak if you're tapped into the frequency of the other person. If you love that other person, it's automatic that you'll hear them think just by the change or inflection in their facial feature. Because they thought, and then the facial feature came. And if you're tuned into the voice, even if you exchange saliva, you're already tuned in. You see. Mental telepathy can be practiced. It can be artificially amplified by you doing certain exercises with the cortexes of the brain. But mental telepathy is to extend the feeling beyond the boundaries of what you have limited your feelings behind. If you are empathic to people's pain or suffering, if you have empathy for your fellow man or your sister woman, you automatically have that door. And I see you looking straight at me and I'm looking straight at you. All of a sudden your eyes start to seem to fall apart from where it is. That's to show me that that's not really you. And that there are temperaments that lay behind the layer that you show to everybody else. There's a lion, there's a eagle, there's a snake, There's different temperaments.
Dog?
Dogs too. Wolf.
You say you saw a wolf.
Yeah, yeah. I have a wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Valentine.
Yes.
One time I was talking with my sister
Mhm.
outside in the dark, so we were just like focusing on each other.
Mhm.
And we were talking. I started staring into her face while she was speaking to me.
Mhm.
And in her face, I saw that her face started changing.
Yes.
But it wasn't changing to other animals.
Mhm.
It just looked like it was changing to other people, but
Mhm.
with one focal point.
Yes. Very good.
You know, if you went through generations,
Mhm.
and you can see
And
that
you can see all the generations to
yeah,
that point. Yes.
but they have one thing in the center of their face that looks the same throughout all of them.
Got it? That's the point. That's the point of reference. And everything else is peripheral experience.
Want to know if you can break down the science behind getting drunk or drinking? Like, what positive effect can come out of that? Because I see like
Drunken monkeys?
Yeah, drunken monkeys.
Yeah. Well, the monks watched the drunkards. They didn't get drunk. You know, getting the drunk puts them in an altered state, just like the brothers who did capoeira, or the Zulu warriors who would drink the potion before they went to fight. It's an altered state that they would go into. You know, because their regular reality did not give them the incentive to be and do certain things, like to become a changeling. To do drunken monkey is not necessary if you can actually use your own chemicals in your brain to fix on what it is that your brain knows it is. If you have had one drink, your body already knows how to get drunk. You could do it just by recalling the memory. You see what I'm talking about? So you don't need to drink to do drunken monkey. All you need to do is just drink once. Understand what drunkenness is, recover, and then be drunk when you want to be drunk. The experience is there. And then fall into whatever it is you're doing. You see?
One person who like smokes marijuana or something like that.
Yeah, I was telling y'all about that. Who was there when I was telling y'all about that? Yeah, when you can smoke marijuana.
Guys that used to smoke and all of a sudden they don't smoke anymore. You could be around them and they just look totally blazed.
Blazed and wasted,
have
yeah.
that whole look on them. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
When I first started smoking, like I fiend, you know, I fiend for it, and like all of a sudden I start feeling high, you know.
Yeah. Well, that becomes because the tetrahydrocannabinol is moving through the bloodstream on its way out. And when the body begins to isolate it so it can get rid of it, it starts getting inside of the fat. You stop doing it, after a while, if it hasn't just perverted everything in there, it begins to become a thing that the body pays attention to get rid of. But that THC is what's in there causing the problem. Yes, sir.
Well, one of the fellows in the group was telling me something that you had touched upon about cancer and the whole idea that cancer in and of itself is the body's own way of ridding itself of illness, and by normal doctors cutting it out, that's like counterproductive. Can you touch on that a bit?
Cancer is not a death-dealing disease. Cancer is about the last desperate effort of the body to contain the disease. We go on the doctor's say-so. We genuflect to doctor's words. We don't understand that doctors don't know shit from Shinola about disease. What they do know, and they're exemplary in, is sew back your arm off if it gets cut off. Take a bullet out of you. Keep you alive that way. Excellent. If we're at war. And it's good to have somebody who knows how to take a bullet out of me if I get shot. But about healing and how the body operates in that healing, no way. Cancer is a result of many things, not just one thing. Cancer is at a point of reference where your thoughts, again, have moved the center of attention to different areas of the body. Wherever you move that center in your thought process, you affect it with sound, with light, with food. All of that creates the disturbances that causes that area to become overworked, thus enervated, thus fatigued, thus dilapidated and degenerated. When that happens, the body pours, through no fault of its own, waste gets collected in that area. The body begins to try to do its best to contain the area. But because it's so weak, the putrefaction builds up, and then now you have these organisms that are there that were once there to help you, now they're feeding on you. Now, the only reason they can actually feed, and this is the secret, never believe that a bacteria is somehow your enemy. Bacteria are very benign creatures. They are there incidentally to what it is that you eat. If you have, so, say for instance, you ever heard strep or staph, right? Staphylococcus. Staphylococcus is already in your body. So for them to say you have a staphylococcus infection, that's bullshit, because if the staph is there and you're not having staphylococcus infection, staph didn't cause it. What does cause it is you start eating all kind of filth that causes your colon to get clogged up. The colon can't move the waste, so it begins to turn the waste into the next largest organ to get rid of it, which is your lungs. Now here you are with all this filth in there. The staphylococcus sees the fact that it has to get rid of this stuff, and it begins to multiply, so it can start eating on the pus and filth. So you go there to the doctor because you, and he goes, oh my God, you got a staph. Let me see that throat. Oh God, that throat is horrible. Not realizing that your body has chosen this avenue to get rid of the filth. So he's looking at all of what nature did to change the personality of the bacteria in order to make it a helpmeet to the process. So he's reading the staph, and now the staph, eating on all that filth, changes its appearance, and he calls it strep. So the staph changes to a strep. Now, you don't want to listen, because what do? You start popping antibiotics. Immediately you start killing off all these things that were there to help you, and what happens? You end up with pneumococcus. So it's like Prince turning into Fat Albert. You wouldn't recognize Prince if you saw Fat Albert, right? They're the same thing. The staphylococcus and the pneumococcus are the same things changed because of the type of waste that's in the system, and because the body had to dictate the personality of the helpmeet so that it could effectively eject the waste. But the doctors won't tell you that. So you go through all of this antibiotic, you wonder why you get worse, why you never get better, why you get sicker down the line, why you end up with something called sarcoidosis, which is a cancer that of the lungs on the surface, or you end up with pleurisy and all of these different types of lung diseases, because you have not had the patience enough to allow the body to go through the healing process. I don't feel good. You start suffering, so you want the doctor to numb your body, to knock your body out so you can get back to work. You see. So there is no such thing as cancer. That is a classification of medicine. It is a medical classification based upon their church-like dictums. They have tenets. They got all their 10 commandments from the miracle of Mount Medicine. And they've come down with all the antidotes and potions from the pharmacy. The word pharmacy comes from the word pharmakon, which is Greek for magic weed.
If you were to get an injury in a certain area, then you were to get a benign tumor, say.
Benign?
Yeah, benign. And you were to let it heal naturally. Is it possible that it might pop up again?
Benign tumors are simply blockages. What they call tumors are nothing more than the body's isolatory powers. Benign tumors, quote unquote, are essentially an accumulation of something called fibrin. That fibrin, due to the lack of a tissue salt called kali-mur, begins to accumulate around the problem of collecting the waste in those areas. Cleansing, purification, heat packs, magnetic treatments, gone.
Chemotherapy?
No, dead, gone, yeah, gone. Chemotherapy is just what it is. Now they got this whole new kind of chemotherapies. They got all kind of new kind of therapies to try to enhance. They got this herbal chemotherapy now they got.
Whoa.
Don't go for the rope-a-dope, you know. Though I love him, Ali ain't the champ anymore. You know. Though I love him, Ali ain't the champ anymore. So the rope-a-dope shouldn't work. You haven't asked but one question, sister.
I did.
I know you asked one. I would think that you would be, you know.
I'm absorbing.
Oh, you're absorbing. Good.
Does the gravitation of the white man and cancer have any link?
Yeah, most definitely. You'll see a lot more people dying from the sun. Black folks too. Because this is not a healing sun, it's a purging sun. This sun is a purging sun. Remember, there were 2 suns in our galaxy at one point. One was destroyed.
3 or 2?
2 at this point. 3 came in and left. But the one is behind the other.
Series 2, there's supposed to be 2 or 3.
Yeah, there's 3 suns there. But there's one behind this other one. And another planet was born. It's moving so fast they can't see it around the sun.
But if it's behind, we're going around this. What do you mean?
It's spinning in
oh, yeah.
Right. And what's happening is there are people on the sun. I know it's hard for you to believe. You know, this guy's lost it this time. But the sun, the heat of the sun is not on the surface. It's on the corona. That's where all your heat is. On the surface of the sun, it's maybe 100 degrees hotter than here. And they found lakes forming.
So what's the corona then? What is that?
The corona is the glow you see around it.
The solar eclipse.
So what is that?
It's like when you look at the solar eclipse, that's hazardous to you.
Well, no. I look at the sun all the time.
I mean, like the solar eclipse, that's when it shows the corona.
Well, no. What it does is just shows you. It doesn't show you the. Yeah, well, it shows you the sun's corona. Yeah, but what it actually does is it can actually show you the programming element. That's why they don't want you looking at it, because not the corona itself. What you're actually looking at is the other sun and behind it. So what you're looking at is a bifocal energy. And you see, when people look into the sun, remember the sun is dealing with 7 rays of light, or 7 octaves in the light, which is the red, yellow, orange, green, blue, red, indigo, violet, the whole 9. When your eyes look at it, your brain begins to pick up chemical signals. It's very, very difficult. You have to kind of do this until you can get to the point where you can look at it. And then when you look at it, you'll find that when you look away, one color stays. Sometimes orange will be there, sometimes blue. That'll tell you which one of your chakras is the juice.
Wow.
It's what? What'd you say?
When you look into the sun, you do it very slowly, okay? Because your eyes are weak. The fact that you have so much sclera means that you're weak. So whatever you do take in, you notice when you look at the sun, especially in the summertime, when you look away, sometimes you have this ball right in front of you of a specific color. Some people, when I take my students in the park, some see green, some see orange, some see yellow. Well, it depends on where your chakra is vibrating its least or where it's overloaded. And it tells you. Yeah.
What's your chakra?
The chakra is a wheel that you have in your body. It's the book of the 7 seals. And you can cause that wheel to start turning like a turbine. And then certain particulates of light begin to accumulate in rapid motion. And then they begin to become a light dynamo, almost like a light cyclone. And then it begins to trigger up to a certain point where that bottom chakra spins. And once it gets to a certain dynamic spin ratio, it triggers the next one. And after you've triggered the next one, it begins to spin, and then after it hits its next, what do you call it, it triggers the next. Until such time, and as you read through the book of 7 seals, as each one opens up, they're speaking to which one of those were opened up. The first one being the base, or the Muladhara Kundalini. And then you start building it up, and then they tell you that the 6th chakra, which is the worst one, with the earthquakes and so forth, and it happened to me when I did Kundalini, because it feels like your brain is about to explode out the back of your head, and it feels like your neck is cracking, and you can feel a snap. And I just broke it off after that. I didn't want to even bother. I didn't want to go to the 7th one, because I probably didn't want to come back after that. But after you go to the 7th, man, you're speaking to other entities.
Christ.
Yeah, they're called the Christ. Christ simply means oil.
But
oil.
how about what's it called? They say that when your chakras are immature, you know what I mean? That
you can burn out.
Yeah, and also like you feel like, let's say you be itchy certain spots and certain things like that.
Oh, we're all weak now. I mean, look at what we breathing, look what we eating, look what we drinking. There's no way we're gonna start raising any kundalini right now.
They say that it could be dangerous for a person
Oh,
who
yeah.
doesn't know how to.
Yeah, because you can burn out just like any wire. You put certain amount of voltage to a wire that's all frayed. People are going to just come up in spontaneous combustion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't you raise your kundalini in a sax?
Yeah, but those pathways are channeled around the actual chakras. You can tap into the chakras. They'll spin to a certain vibration, but then it comes back down, especially when you ejaculate. Just because the life force that you would have sent up here, you're losing out here. Remember, sperm and brain material are the same. Yeah. Your sperm and your brain material are the same, so you can't think out of both heads at the same time, brother. Can't use both heads at the same time. One head shuts down. Yes.
Can you elaborate some on dreaming and deja vu and REM and all that?
Deja vu, yeah.
That was bug in the Matrix. They mentioned
Yeah.
That was a glitch in the Matrix.
But that was just glitch. It's a glitch in the Matrix.
That was bug.
Yeah, it made everybody think, right? You wouldn't know what it's about anyway until it happens. But you said you wanted me to elaborate on? Well, dreaming. Some dreaming is just that you're too disturbed to solve your problems in the daytime, so you try to solve them at night. And since your mind deals in pictures, then you're trying to solve your pictures, your problems hieroglyphically. So you have this moving movie of all the things that you wish you could have had done in the daytime. So most dreaming in regular people is just based upon the fact that you just had so much to do in your daytime how you wish you could have finished it off, or you got problems with your lady, or you got, things that you got to meet a bill or something like that. And all of that factors into how you begin to communicate that. True dreaming is dream walking.
Yeah, like building. Let's say like I had a dream before, like we're in a cipher building and things like that. You know what I mean? Like I was reading the Aquarian Gospel and I had a dream because I was reading all this thing. Oh, Christ did this. And I had a dream like Christ doing something and this and that. So like, what's the difference?
Don't believe any of them things that Christ. See, you got to understand.
No, I'm saying I mean not literally.
Right.
But it became literal in my dream, like a man. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you just went inside here and added more to the inventory. You got to remember, you got to delete the inventory. Yeah, just reflecting on what the impression was. The impression, that words made an impression on you. Those impressions factored into a moving dynamic that you created.
So dream walking.
Dream walking is something different. Don Juan says, if you could find your hand in your dream, then you've learned to dream walk. Why is that? You look at your hand and you recognize, you study it, everything in your hand. And then if you can go to sleep and bring that back, and then come out remembering that you remembered your hand, you've learned the first step in dream walking. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, right.
Let me say something.
Yes, sir.
With that, they say that you can't notice faces in dreams. That like you'll never actually see a face in a dream, but you'll just associate it with something. Like a character in a dream could have their eyelash a certain way or something like that, and you realize, well, that reminds me of X person.
Yeah.
So that kind of.
That's your peripheral. See, that's the secret of understanding how to deal with different worlds. To understand how to have peripheral perception. The idea is to see out of your peripherals without looking directly, because it's the front view that's actually the perversion. Your peripherals are where the true energies lie. So in my classes, I teach people to look straight ahead and recognize what that person's doing. To learn to switch the focus from what your eyes is giving you, and then use the peripheral. Absorb the room. Look at the room. Feel the room from the peripherals. Don't pay attention to what's there. Pay attention to what's there. Very difficult. Until you learn, you see like you're dying to look and see what it is. Am I correct when I'm looking? They're giving you this sense of importance at what you are here and now. But you ain't shit here and now. You're still struggling. You got to eat shit. Get up the next day to go to work. 66 trillion years. 66 trillion years. Elijah Muhammad said you were here. 66 trillion years of evolution, and all you can tell me you got to show for it is a 9-to-5 job? Is this all we've come down to after 66 trillion years of sojourning all of creation? You think this is all there is? We got to get out of this loop. Yes, brother.
As for sleeping and then opening your eyes and not being able to move, you're saying that you had not body experience?
Many times. Yeah.
But if you're not conscious of it, you're not.
No, you are conscious.
I mean, I thought it was just me personally. Like my body shut down, or I thought my brain didn't get up or whatever. My eyes were functioning. I was looking around, but I couldn't move, and it took a lot out of me.
Well, that was that little light that was in the corner. Remember I told you that sometimes when the spirit leaves, there's a little light left on, and it's just enough to animate the body. But the actual whole energy is not back. It has to come back in through the head.
How come you don't experience that?
That's the only place you see strength when you like that in your head.
Yeah.
That's why you can still look.
Yeah.
You can't really hear nothing.
Yeah, and hear nothing. Is all you can just look around and say, "Oh shit, where am I? The body don't want to move. Oh God, I'm dying." That's to show you. See, the aggregate, the agreement of the cells is very weak. The body knows it's very weak. It's terminal, so it gets very afraid. It needs to have the security of thought working. So if the security of thought isn't giving any kind of amelioration to the fear, it starts panicking. And the panic is what brings the soul back. The soul is fine. It's probably sojourning around Pluto someplace. Meanwhile, here you are with the cord stretching and you're bugging. Oh my God, I'm dying. Move me, somebody get up. And you're forcing yourself. So you're calling the body back. And then you start shaking, and you fight your way back into it.
So next time that happens,
just chill for a minute and watch around. Say, I can't move. That's like the sleep of death, but when they do a zombie. When they could put you out, you dead, they bury you alive, that type of thing. Yeah, when they used to give you this particular combination of herbs, they used to put you into this death-like sleep. It was burying you. It really seriously bug you out. You had full consciousness, and they'd be burying you alive.
So when did the process of death begin? I remember last time we was at Wise's house, you spoke upon a time that we never died.
The death came when the agreement to die came. Now we're going to get back on some, that's kind of deep. It's kind of long, but just say that the cells, who are the ones that keep the agreement, made the agreement to die in order to speed up the evolutionary cycle of perfection and perfecting, so that life and death became the trigger mechanism to teach you how to get out of the cycle of ignorance beyond so-called life and beyond so-called death. The agreement came when other entities began entering into our bodies, began moving into our bodies, because the present design was not strong enough or structured enough to make the next jump. So other entities were invited or asked to come in to occupy and pretend and to play out the cycle of evolution for us. So there are many entities from different star configurations, different consciousness zones of operation that came in to give us a hand. You may look around and see if you...
If like, let's say when you go to sleep and you wake up and you got a cut and you know you didn't scratch yourself or something, you know what I mean? What does that have to do with, like, say, other influences? Let's say you could say planetary or whatever it may be coming and doing that to you. Would you say that's possible?
I'm not sure. I have to look into that. As far as you coming back with a cut, when you went from an experience, you could have brought that back. It could have been a triggered memory. Could have been a triggered memory, a stigmata, what is called a stigmata,
So how about dealing with the science with so-called ghosts and all this stuff? You know what I mean?
Like the movie says, brother.
Which movie?
Don't be a ghost, be a spirit.
No, but let's say something sits next to you. What the heck is that?
What, sits next to
Yeah,
you?
let's say something sits next to you. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
what happens?
you see like an indentation under the seat next to you.
Are you looking for this stuff?
Alright, I got a boatload of experiences to go along with that.
Yeah.
Okay, and say what you might, you know, my whole family's experienced these things. Like, my sisters have woken up from sleep and they felt things holding them down.
Of course.
You know,
Yeah.
my sister has seen things come into the room and sit down next to her, and she'd be like, okay, there's something sitting next to me, and it's pretty frightening. And another person in the family would walk in and be like, what is that sitting next to you?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I've been there.
We've
Been there.
in our whole family, we've had these types of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you attribute to that? Like,
Well, it happened to me when I was living in Trinidad. I saw people coming in through the window.
Especially over there in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Saw people coming in the Caribbean. And when I woke my sister up, she couldn't see anything. I was looking at this guy sitting right there on the bed.
Talking?
Huh?
Yeah,
he's looking at me, talking to me.
happened to
Yeah. And these are people living within certain consciousness dynamics that don't accept their death, what I've told, that their ectoplasmic cohesion has not yet dissolved, and by their own will and intent decide to stay because they either want to avenge or based on the fact that they feel they've been robbed, they want to live through another person, or
Are they miserable? They're feelings?
yeah, not that they're weak, more than they're ignorant of themselves. They have to be convinced to leave.
Could you teach them?
Yeah, you could. But most of the times they're fixed in their perception. You know, they're residual. What it is essentially they're nothing more than residual perception. And that residual perception is supposed to be dissolved, and the essence that's still housed in it then goes back. And then, you know, roams in between the moon and the earth, and then waits to come back and incorporate again. Except some roam between different planets, higher and higher in the sphere. Some deal with galactic roaming, with different galaxies.
Can they do physical harm to you? I've heard people say that they can snap.
Well, when you begin to focus on them, the secret is to focus, not to focus on them. When you've focused on them, and you've given them, you can look at them and see them, you've used your own light of intent and awareness to give them a reference point for them to appear. So they will use your reference point to appear. Your ability to perceive them gives them a dimension for them to operate in by your recognition of them.
That's good. It's like, you're not real. My brother
No, you've just given them reality there.
my brother-in-law, he said he was sitting down on his couch one time, looking outside his window, and like he was watching something, and he just happened to look outside his window, and he saw something strange, just like walking around or whatever. So he started staring at it, and then the thing all of a sudden just kind of stopped, looked at him, and it just jumped off.
There you go. See? Rest the case. What he did was give him a point of reference. When you look at somebody, especially on another etheric realm, the eyes give off a certain energy in order to cognize what it's looking at. It has to project its perceptual cortex, and it projects a light in order to grab the light. In order for me to know who you are, I have to project light to that area to define it. Once I project light to that area, something that's sensitive on that level will feel it like somebody's just sprayed him with a hose or something. You look over to where the hose was sprayed at.
And you feel people looking at you sometimes?
Yeah, that's another way. Someone has pushed their intent. Somebody's speaking to you by them looking at you, and you could feel them looking at you, and you just look and you see them looking at you. Yeah.
Is there any situation you come in contact with the ghost that we should be scared, or should we all just really calm?
Well, ghosts don't have any ability unless they've been given it and have practiced at being able to do things by affecting energy. But ghosts don't have a real tangible connection unless you have a sensual, you've bridged a sensual nexus or connection with them. You can't give them, they can't start picking up tables and floating them around the wall unless they've been given enough. They can't start picking up tables and floating them around the wall unless they've been given enough time to, or has not been given enough time to I guess, de-etherize, or to start breaking up the molecular etheric bonds that kept them there. Some of them have heavier, denser molecular structures or ectoplasmic structures that can move stuff, but most of them don't have the ability to affect anything on this realm, except they can affect you through your feelings and your influence. And since you have other sensory organs other than your eyes, your nose, your ears, you can feel them, and in your feeling, you bestow presence to them, and then they can affect you.
So, let's say you walk in a room and, you, like, let's say all of a sudden your hair is like, come up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you feel it, like, what is that?
Yeah. It's just energy, actually.
Yeah, that's what
yeah, it's just, you got your auric field, they're just probably affecting the auric field in such a way.
This the video that he brought from that part one is called Melanin, and some sister, she was giving a speech about melanin. She mentioned that there's these people that live within you that are called guides. And that you just explain that?
Guides? No guides. You have essentially a lot of, ancestral energy dynamics around you. And there are different personalities that give you a contact to the other lives that you had. There are guides around you. Sometimes your grandmother. I see one time my grandmother was in Trinidad, and I was at my house, and I got up one night. I think I was 10 or 11, 12, and I went to use the bathroom, and I couldn't open the door. I was doing my best to open the door to the bathroom, and then when I looked inside, and I was trying to peek, and I pulled it, I looked and I saw my grandmother sitting on the toilet. So I said, well, when did Granny get here? So I said, all right, I'll wait. So I went back to the bed, slept down, and then I went to the bathroom. I thought she opened it. I looked in there, and there was Grandma again. So I said, Grandma, I need to use the bathroom. And I said, Grandma. And then my mother gets up and says, what the heck is going on? Well, like I said, Grandma don't want to get out of the bathroom. She said, what do you mean Grandma don't want to get out of the bathroom? She said, Grandma's in the bathroom. She's been in there all the time. And she never moved. She stayed just like this. And my mother walked over and opened the door. So whatever was going on, the connection that I had to my grandmother by whatever affinity, because I loved her, that affinity alone can affect you and give corporeality to your reality. Same way.
Do children have more ability to, because I know children have less, conscious, I don't know the word, that blocks them from
corruption.
Yeah, less thinking.
Yeah, they're kind of in two worlds. They operate in two worlds. They still have the field of their imagination that is unpolluted. But in school, their imagination is taken from them, and what is happening is they're replaced with McDonald's toys and all these different things to condition their imagination. So no child can take this piece of paper and go off and do things wondrously, or take a box and create a whole world of it. Instead, their consciousness is colonized by toys and dolls and all this video crap. So they know that the field of imagination is the uncharted territory to being able to deal with extrasensory perception, be able to deal with spontaneous creation. This field of imagination is the operation of the higher thought mind. So they must colonize it with a lot of extraneous crap so that the child's field of imagination is operating around their dynamic of what imagination means. So they give you this Teletubby crap. And they give you this Sesame Street and all this bullshit so that they can acclimate your children to how they want them to think. They become consumers at a very young age, or they become practicing consumers at a very young age.
I was wondering if you thought it was possible to communicate with animals.
Yes. As a matter of fact, the Tweed people had a whole dictionary. Tweed. These are so-called Tweed, they are pygmies. That's a derogatory name for them. Also, the so-called aboriginals, they spoke as well. Yeah, they spoke to the animals as well. But we lost that because our frequency died when the brain area, the centers of our brains died. Brothers in the Rastas who speak about the Ethiopians or the Abyssinians who used to train lions. The lions used to come in and sit with them in the whole 9 yards. That's true. You can speak the language. You know, the Kemites did it until they began to fall. And you got to remember the Kemites that they show you as Memphis and all the rest of them, the dynasties. These are Johnny-come-latelys. Don't get too caught up in Kemet, no Ankh, and all this. They're just Johnny-come-latelys. They just took over where the Kemet-U had left. Because when they got there, the pyramid was there. When they got there, everything was pretty much destroyed and screwed up. So there was no new thing that these people had introduced. Yes.
I heard Bobby Hemmett, I believe you as well, said when the flesh dies, don't go into the light.
Yeah.
What's the science behind that?
Well, the science behind that is that there are certain way stations where your light is being processed to maintain you in this threshold so that there are other entities that can feed on you. So you're essentially a light source of food. The very thing that they spoke about in the movie. So essentially, when you go into the light is a programming chamber. It's a place where they take you in and get you, mess around with your brain, make you forget who you are, send you back as an etheric ectoplasmic form to inhabit another body. Well, some call them grays, some call them different things.
You're talking about aliens?
Aliens? I never said that.
Talking about me now.
You describe like when you're sleeping and you start making bodily movements. Like
REM.
say you're fighting somebody in your sleep.
Yeah, that's very disturbed. What do you call it? You have to learn how to rest. There's a difference between sleep and rest. In sleep, you could be just as active as if you're awake. But if you're resting, that means you have psychological, physiological, and mental rest, which is very rare these days because you're either hopped up on air that's bad, water that's bad, food that's bad, so you can't really rest. And if you're eating all kind of crap late at night, how could you be resting if your body is digesting all night? So, one messes after the other.
Before we get too off of sleep and dreams, I know he said he had a question from when he was young, and so did I, and that was always controlling dreams. Like I know it's fun to dream while being rich when you actually wake up and you're poor. I always wondered about that.
That controlling dreams? Why would you want to control dreams? I understand how you can maybe cast a thought or seed a reality, but to control means essentially that you have an idea of what you already want.
I mean, maybe control is too strong a word, but like, you know, actors, they have an outlet where they can play a certain character and still be themselves. Like in a dream, I could be a king and rule, and, you know, that'd be my outlet of different personalities.
You can do that now.
It'd be more fun in the dream, though.
Why would it be fun in the dream? See, that's you create an organic virtual reality. The idea is that you took the body to do the reality, because you are actually in a dream right now. This is a dream. God is dreaming us. I've lost it. God is dreaming us, so we can do anything. Yes, brother. Give him
If this is an illusion, and this is just an agreement, so what's the purpose of the struggle then? And so I shouldn't do this movie of Blue Jamal rally because it doesn't exist. So what's the point?
It doesn't. Essentially, again, everything is based upon a consensual agreement to act and interact on certain levels. Now, this thing with Mumia Abu Jamal is essentially an agreement. So you can follow through with the agreement if you want. Brother has chosen to act and do and be for certain people, and certain people have decided to take up the gauntlet. Certain people have decided to keep him down, execute him, and so forth. It's all agreement.
So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So when I saw
You ever see Meatballs?
Meatballs?
Yeah. Remember the movie? Remember the time when they were getting their asses whipped in the thing? And what did what's his name say?
Bill Murray?
Yeah, Bill Murray. Remember when they had the rally? It just doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
It just. So we should all get up and start saying. Yes, brother.
When I was small, like you saw, I remember I had this dream that, what we're talking about right now, that I was in another dimension.
Rally? It just doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
It just. So we should all get up and start saying. Yes, brother.
When I was small, like you saw, I remember I had this dream that, what we're talking about right now, that I was in another dimension, and that all of this was just a dream.
Yeah.
That's always bugged me out, like.
Yeah. Well, see, you can take your place any place. See, everything we're doing now sounds far-fetched, but the yogis up in Tibet, and all that, they do that all the time. It's because you agree that it can't be done. It's because you agree that why bother? I want to bother. I feel like bother with. That's why you're here. You chose to do it. You see, it's like, I don't know if you've ever read the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is talking about Krishna. Krishna is a war god. And Krishna is going to war, and he's talking to Arjuna, who is his bowman. And everybody is having problems thinking about this, going to this battle, because there's 1,000,000 men on one side and 1,000,000 men on this side, and Arjuna is at the head of what do you call it, his chariot, and Krishna steps up in the chariot and he says to Arjuna, why are you worried? Why do you seem so troubled and perplexed? He says, I don't know. He says, I just don't feel like I want to die. He says, why are you worried about dying? You've done it so many times before. You've killed so many times before. You've done this so many times before. They've done this so many times before. It just seems real to you now because you agree that it's real.
So what happens when I agree that's not real anymore?
Then it doesn't exist for you. Then you find your focus somewhere else. You may end up in Timbuktu. You may end up in some place in Africa, or you may even go down to New Zealand. And then the reality changes. But you agreed to be here. Everything now, the pattern you have taken is based on agreement.
So I feel pain because I want to feel pain.
I feel pain because pain is essentially a survival instrument only. It's to let you know not to do this thing again, because then you're messing up the vehicle. That's all.
Suppose I decide to agree that I don't exist anymore. Is that possible?
Yeah, it's happening every day. The black man is that particular story right now.
He just decides not to exist and doesn't agree that he exists.
Well, if you're going to say that you're not going to exist and think that you're going to just evaporate, it's not going to work like that. The agreement is too strong. You've done this too many times before. You cannot see yourself as anything else yet. Now, we've talked a long time. I compliment you, brothers, of staying here. A few of you have bent over a little bit, slumped down a little bit, but you all are still here. But the agreement is too strong. You all see that there are other possibilities or other ways of focusing your thoughts and your attention. But I have had a moment where I have stopped your thinking, and you have got the chance to witness the space in between your thoughts. I have filled it sometimes with things that made you say, oh my God. You came to realizations, but then you only realized based upon what you thought you didn't know. Everything I'm saying, you already know. Yes, brother.
How much consciousness of this life can we potentially bring to the next life?
There is no way to qualify or quantify consciousness. Consciousness is. We develop in consciousness. We become conscious of consciousness. We enhance our consciousness within consciousness, but we cannot change or qualify consciousness. Consciousness is.
When
You're getting pretty close. I thought we were getting ready to get to the next level after that question, brother. That was the door. When we get on that, I was wondering when we were going to get on that.
So
start talking about consciousness.
So karma is this in the conscious?
Karma is an agreement. You can break karma today.
So all these teachings are just agreements.
Yes.
So nothing matters.
Nothing matters. See, you see right now he says, oh my God, I want something to matter. I need matter. I need something to matter. See, you just said it right there in your thing, right? I need to matter. I need to be in matter.
Grand.
I need to ground myself in something that matters. And what's the word matter mean? Yeah, so what are you saying? It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. That's the problem. You did matter. That's why you're here. I'm getting lost right now. See, you're just using the word and we're juxtaposing to show you how the game is being played on itself. Remember, you are part of an agreement to play a game. You agree that, hey, I'm going to take on flesh, play the whole game of being dumb. I don't know nothing about myself. And in that game, I'm going to try to learn as much as I can. And your job here, in the flesh, is to spiritualize matter.
So is the goal of being in the flesh to learn that it doesn't matter? Is that the goal?
The idea is to understand that matter can be qualified by an agreement. And that spirit is the one who sets the qualifications. If you feel that this is what you want it to be and you are playing it out under contract, you can break the contract.
So the Caucasian knows this as well as we do, right?
Oh, he's no, you see, the Caucasian
So
is a scientist.
everything the Caucasian does, even the whole struggle, is just to stray our minds from knowing that it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Why he wants that for, man?
Because he needs matter. This is his structural place. Remember, he can't jump to another paradigm. This is all he has. If he does make the escape, he has to do it through one of us. And the only reason he's making any escapes is because he's taking on our sciences, where it matters. Oh, my God. Idea is that I thought we were going to jump to the consciousness. It's about, when I'm saying it doesn't matter, I'm saying to you that matter as it is now constructed doesn't matter. Because this is all an agreement. It is not reality. It is an aggregate of certain molecular densities that come together to form a construct of perception. This construct of perception was pre-organized by other higher intelligences which set the laws for what cause and effect are in our reality. We decided to enter into this thing, much like if you're standing up on the shore of a beach, and then, or better yet, you're on a boat, and you're looking down at the bottom, and you see a ship wrecked down at the bottom, but it's fathoms down at the bottom, and you're standing up there, the sun is shining, everything is beautiful. You put on your diving bell and you stick in there and you jump in the water and you're sinking down to the bottom. And as you're looking, it's getting darker and darker, but there's just enough light for you to see. So you reach down inside of this particular ship and you're looking through this wreckage, and all of a sudden your hose gets caught and you can't breathe anymore. Your reality ain't up there, it's down here. All right? You don't know nothing about sunshine because you're trying to breathe down here. You see what I'm saying? That reality no longer exists. Your only reality is down here. Matter of fact, you don't give a damn about it. You're wishing to get back there. That's what you're doing right now.
So my goal is to go back to
go back to that place
yes.
where you know that, or essentially the knowingness of what you are, that comes essentially when you dispel this particular aggregate of cellular structures. When this cellular structure becomes rearranged, then you get to the next level of what you want to know about yourself. But right now, you're numbed in here based on the constructed agreement. The present alignment and design and arrangement of the cells gives you this particular outer look. And in this comes all the limitations. You've limited yourself to this. It's a self-limiting process that has you believing that the limitation is the reality. It is not. The limitation is not the reality. You've agreed to take limitation as your reality. And it is because you've agreed to limit yourself and limit your perspective of yourself that you live in this reality. And it's a self-inflicted condemnation. This is the fall that we talked about.
So what do I take it from here now?
See, he wants instructions. The idea is that once I've given you this, then everything else should open up for you. The idea is that no one can tell you because then I just further concrete the construct by giving you instructions. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm blowing his mind. I like that. Yeah.
There's 7 races, right? And there's 7 planes.
Yeah.
Which plane are we dealing with?
I think we're playing between the 5th and the 6th now.
But like the 7 planes of energy.
Yeah.
Like the astral.
On this reality. Yeah.
There's 7 races, right? And there's 7 planes.
Yeah.
Which plane are we dealing with?
I think we're playing between the 5th and the 6th now.
But like the 7 planes of energy.
Yeah.
Like the astral.
On this reality.
On this reality.
Yeah, that's this don't limit it to just the 7. We're in a whole other, the laws that govern this reality, there are other laws based on the harmonics within that law. And these 7 may be just simply the first rung of a lower ebb of sounds. Just like, a dog whistle, you blow a dog whistle, the dog listens. You can't hear it, but the dog hears it. Same thing.
What are we trying to achieve in this race? And when we do achieve, are we still going to be assisting, or
the achieving means that you believe that you set a goal. Now you don't know what the goal is, so what are you achieving? The idea is to slowly but surely unfold what you've become over so many years, so many centuries of your agreement to come together in this particular cellular arrangement called man. When the cells no longer want to feel the same connection and feel that they must have another association with themselves, then you have a whole new species being born, and man can flee this cocoon and become the butterfly that he is. But right now you're trapped inside the chrysalis, and you don't know you're in a chrysalis. You don't even know that you're a butterfly. You don't even know that you're a caterpillar. You're just trapped. And you're walking around here waiting for somebody on a pulpit to tell you who you are. You're walking around here going to education, somebody tell you who you are. You don't know who you are. You're kicking around inside of the reality that's a cocoon that you need to break free of to find out that you are the butterfly. But you ain't going to find out you're a butterfly in a college because they want you to stay in the cocoon. It's to their best interest for them to have you in a cocoon. So you are the butterfly. You are the freedom you seek. You are not going to try to get freedom. You are the freedom. First and foremost, understand that, and then you have lit this thing.
You talk about the agreement, right? I wanted, because my nephew, right? He got close to a little cooking, whatever. He got some oil, right? He like around the eyebrow. So he shut his eyes because he got scared with it. I don't know if that's just instinct. And he didn't open his eyes for more than 24 hours. And like you tell him, open your eyes, and he would just be chilling. Like he'd walk and he'd bump into a wall, and he'd just get up and
trauma.
And he wouldn't even open it for nothing. You know what I mean? Give him a bath, he wouldn't open it. His friends would be playing around. He played with his eyes closed.
That's called an elemental shutdown. Elementals. I don't know if you ever see somebody do this with their leg like that sometimes, or when they're doing something they're tapping. These are what I call rogue elementals that are looking for expression through you. See, your body is a conduit for elemental expression. There are certain elements that are conscious as themselves, and they become conscious of themselves when they operate through you. So there are certain elementals that only express themselves or know of themselves or can feel themselves only when they become part of your experience. So you find yourself doing little habits or doing little things that you never thought of. These are all little elementals finding an expression. So this particular elemental, which was essentially a survival reflex, the fear factor, which is probably massaging his kidneys, or the kidney, underneath his foot, would have relaxed that.
So he was scared?
Yeah, it was just a reflex, but it was a survival reflex, and that survival reflex caused him to shut down that area and just stay that way. But the elemental didn't want to open up again. Because the elemental was too afraid. The elemental, probably had... Ask him if at one time he used to feel...
Yeah, he was 2 years old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, even better, because they use babies real serious.
Who use babies?
Elementals. Sometimes you see them, they operate through the baby, and the baby starts looking around, or the baby starts doing things. And
I thought he was like you talking about agreement, like he just agreed that, I don't want to,
Well, yeah, sometimes the elementals do that, and they operate through the body, and, sometimes they know danger as well. They understand it because they're operating through you. Busy in here. Yes, but
You spoke about consciousness, and you spoke about that space. Or that
I was wondering when we were going to get back to Brother's question. He just dropped something in there and say that.
That gap between thinking and learning, and the actual or how is consciousness involved in that? Or can we be conscious of that? Or should we be conscious of that?
Can you be conscious?
Should you consciously do it? I mean, if you're going to be conscious.
Well, you're conscious anyway.
Okay.
You're either conscious or unconscious. Or non. You can't be non-conscious.
Okay.
So you're conscious, and that's a Greek word. No such word exists in any African alphabet for it, although it may exist in another way. But you're conscious of thought versus learning. You're conscious because there is a part of you that recognizes or recalls that there is some form of description. Now, what you have to be very mindful of is what I've given you here. Don't formulate it. Because when you formularized, you're still getting trapped in thought. I've only given you a way to see something so that you will recognize the seeing again. The difference between looking at something and seeing it. When you're looking, you're just using these faculties. When you see, you are looking past the illusion, past the description, past all the inventory, and to the essential. So can you recognize, or can you process input on its essential level without the barrier of preliminary or previous stopgaps of recognition to make you feel comfortable with what you recognize? And when you do that, then you've gone past the category, the dictionary that you put up in your brain. Oops. And then you've gotten a pure experience. You didn't have to define the bird before you could enjoy the experience of the bird. You didn't have to go to the zoo and look at something spotted and say, oh, leopard. No, it's not a leopard. That is such a denigration, how man can start defining things based upon his reality. You see, that just kind of, that shows you how the animals have become so quantified in little spaces that just keep shrinking more and more. As soon as man began defining them, he began to define their spaces. And as soon as he defined their spaces, they came into extinction. So it's the same thing we're doing with the reality. As soon as we start defining ourselves within the reality they gave us, we became extinct. You see? So the idea is to break the agreement, break the reality they've given you to define yourself with, and then see yourself without all of the definitions that you've been given to recognize yourself with. When that happens, there's an essential you that tries to come out that has no ears, has no barriers, has no education, has no religion, has no nonsense that has been put there to keep you from seeing the essential, so that you can make up your own mind as to who or what God is, so that you can make up your own mind, not something that's handed down from your parents, your grandparents. These things, all of the things we do are traditionally handed down. We do not self-evolve. We do not come into our own realization of what God is, who God is, what education is, what knowledge is. Everything is given to us, and we process it. Take it or leave it. How could you know what God is? How do you know who you are in relationship to, even if there is a quote-unquote God? So I'm saying that until, just to close this out so we don't start getting numb, so you can start processing what we have. You cannot come into this world, have your category of your clean slate filled up with a whole lot of crap, and think that that is you. You are the sum total of all the parts that they put into you, not the parts that you have evolved to find out about, which is the part that really causes education to be so dangerous as it is today. Because it's not teaching you to know yourself. It's not teaching you how to think. It's teaching you what to think. It's not teaching you how to think. It's teaching you what to think. And when you learn what to think, they reward you with a sheepskin. So you're an honorary sheep. You can bleat with all the rest of the fleeced flock. Every time we want your wool, step up. Mr. IRS man wants to share you just a little bit more. You don't have your own freedom because you don't understand that freedom is an abdication. Freedom is a surrendering or an abdication from the agreement. Just like disease is a surrendering process. You don't, when you find out that you have an anomaly in your body, you don't go do something. Something is already being done. When you have a disease, by the time that disease comes to the surface, the body has already practically healed it. By the time you have a pimple, by the time you feel the cold come out in your face, the body, in its own divine wisdom, has already processed that filth out by its own divine intelligence. Meanwhile, the doctors have taught you that as soon as you see an anomaly, let's go get it, boys. Put on the mask, load up, lock and load. And that's essentially you have to look at it. Medical science and military science grew together. When the military science got together and started blowing people apart, medical science began learning how to patch people back together again. So medical science and military science have the same jargon, the same kind of semantics. The war on AIDS, the war on cancer. Let's go to town killing off the disease. But what they're doing is they're attacking the healing process. So how do you attack the healing process and hope to really do anything in the way of true medicine? Because you're attacking the process that divine intelligence has instituted in you. Whenever you start feeling sick and you got headaches and so forth, the body's telling you what's wrong. But because you heard on the radio, I haven't got time for the pain. Go over there and say, the Bay Area just gives wonders. Boom, I'm on myself. And somebody's smiling back at you on the television, and you, numb and boiled out of your brain, relieved that if you pop that Bayer, that if you take that Tylenol, everything is all right in the morning. It doesn't work that way, brothers and sisters. You've got to break the illusion. You've got to break free of what it is that they've been telling you is real. It ain't real. And my sister, don't go for the feminist garbage. Be a woman. That's a science in itself. That is a dead science. Women today don't know what a woman is. They're too busy being men. And you have to and that's another science. Start resurrecting. Go back to your grandmothers, your great-grandmothers. The ones who are dealing in understanding what the science of being a creatrix is, being that particular monstrance. Get rid of your cycle. Try your best to try to dry that cycle up to 1 or 2 days so that you can have a healthy child. And I'm passing that on to the other sisters as well. Don't fall for the feminist hype. Oprah is a fool. That's why her name backwards spells Harpo, like in Harpo Marx. All right? She is a buffoon who seems to have everything in hand. She is the illusion. She is telling you everything and she tells you nothing. She is a reporter on everything that goes on in the society that is meant to make you a fool. And she is the one who makes it look so good. She makes it taste even better. See? But she is the distraction. She's the distraction from the real. I don't understand how a woman who has $40 billion can be so numb. Everybody asks her, when are you and Stedman going to have a baby? Ah, well, I don't know. I'm too busy being Oprah. She brings a dog. She brings a dog onto the midnight show, the Tonight Show, and the dog is laying in her lap like a baby. And she's talking to this dog like it's her baby. She even says this is her baby. I'm saying to you, sister, you do not have the right role models. Going out there and being a man and being in the business world, it don't do nothing but get rid of men. And you'll be out there, you'll own the business world, but you'll have nothing. Because you'll come back with a whole lot of things. And I say this to the brothers as well. The material world ain't where it's at. If we secede from doing anything, if our black women were to stop taking care of white children, if our black women were to stop working for this whole system and just say, okay, that's it. Put my men to work. I'm sick and tired. I want to go back home. This society would shut down tomorrow. You sisters have the power. There's no more revolution because we have no more black leaders. We have no more male leaders. You will never see a black woman come up and start leading marches because it's not them. They will not put themselves out that way. And if they do put themselves out that way, you won't see them again. So right now, most women are acclimating to the problem and thinking that they need to get the job in order to change the society. But the job is the problem with the society. The society is the problem doing what we're doing. We could stop buying the crap. If we could stop going out and buying the drugs, buying the alcohol, buying the clothes, buying the this, buying all this crap, and stop it, period, this society would come to us on its bended knee and ask us what we want. As it stands right now, they don't need us because we buy anyway. We will be consumers to the death, even if it means our death. We will eat that Mickey D hamburger. We will go to Wendy's. We will eat everything they want us to eat. We will wear everything they want us to wear, and they won't give a damn about us. They can shoot you 41 times. That's what they think about you. So, sister, I'm saying this to you. You are the one that can turn this around by helping us. And brothers, you're the ones that's going to have to get up to show her that you can protect her. To show her that she is safe where she is. That she can be a woman without feeling threatened at being a woman. You see, that's going to be hard because everything got to collapse first. Anything is not going to make no smooth transition. Nobody's going to give it to us. All of this got to come crumbling down. Death has to happen. Malcolm told you ain't no revolution without blood. You don't really think that this is going to happen like this? It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Everything we learn here today and everything we shared here today don't mean a damn thing unless you implement. It's all fans good. Oh, it sounded good. Oh, man, did you hear that? Oh, yeah, that was deep. Don't mean nothing. Everything I said was hot air. Unless you take whatever was formed here in your minds and use it. And that's all I got to say to y'all, brothers and sisters. Yes, sir.
I don't mean to change subjects, but before I get my thought, what are your views on hypnotism?
I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and all hypnotism is self-hypnotism. You agree?
So
what I am is I become a facilitator for your own agreement to become relaxed around me. I will then become the orchestrator of your own reflection in your mind. So you agree to use my voice as a conduit to yourself.
So if I know I'm not a killer,
you won't be a killer.
You hypnotize me to kill someone.
You can't. What you could do is you could chemically and purposefully override the limbic system and play inside of the brain, inside of the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, all around those areas. Manipulate the neurons so that the cells start turning into something else. Yeah, I can make you into a killer. I can drug you and I can force you through hypnotism and drugs. I can destabilize your own defenses of yourself and make you believe that this implanted thought was your own thought. I can do that. But then what is that? Except me trying to conquer and manipulate you, take you over, use you, and make you my slave. You come to me for therapy, I don't need to hypnotize you. I should be able to see what's going on and just listen to you for a little while. A lot of games and tricks being played by demons, brothers and sisters. Don't go for it. All right. Yeah, I need to make a phone call. Is it possible I can use the phone?
11:15. Why your mom's? Why your mom? I see her like trying to whack me. I run the house.
Oh, excuse me, brother. Well, it's been real. You know, I'm hoping that you know the time we have shared will not be you know just kind of an exercise in cerebral chemical masturbation. I would hope that what we have done here is like memorable only in the fact that every time you do see yourself in circumstances, that it triggers a learning response rather than a thinking response, and that you stay in the active present by actively learning, and that you stay in the active present by actively learning, and by studying, not only through books, but studying the acts of others, looking into things and stories that are being told to you. If you want to go to the movies, don't look to be entertained. Go there as a fact-finding mission. See what they're trying to tell you, what they're trying to entrain in you. You know, this is a whole new way of looking at things. Because they've become, these scientists, man, They're 20 years ahead of you in their technology. All the stuff they're giving you is like 20 years behind for them. They got technology that you wouldn't believe. So it's up to you to keep this technology intact. You brothers and sisters who are on the internet, don't fall for that. You know, if it's a tool you're going to need to deal with, then use it as a tool and get out of it as quickly as possible. Get into the real. Go out and stare at a tree. Go out and look at grass. Stare into the buds of a flower. Come back. Because that virtual reality is there to make sure that you are distracted. It's there to keep you distracted from yourself. You don't see the spider while you're in the web until it's too late. We just only scratched the surface. But I'm glad you all came.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us.